I recently fixed and installed the quarter windows and regulators in my 66 Charger. Now it's time to reinstall the interior panel. The first step is to add some scrap pieces of Dynamat to cut down on vibration that might be audible when sounds from the engine or radio resonate through the sheet metal. Okay, I've added some Dynamat on the inside of this panel to knock down on vibration noise, and the next step is to put in the vapor barrier. Now this is an old one and I don't much like it, so I'm going to replace it with this new one, which I cut out using the old one as a template. And this is actually the same vapor barrier that I used when I constructed my shop. It's a slightly heavier grade than the original stuff. And the way that I will attach it is using this 3M Strip-Calk, which looks like this. It's like a butyl rubber, and it responds to the warmth of your skin, so when you start using it, it gets a little sticky. The way I did this on the other side is I just went around adding the Strip-Calk to the car and then pressed the vapor barrier into it, and then trimmed off the excess vapor barrier. Now technically I probably should have done this before I installed the upholstery panel there for the rear quarter, because the vapor barrier actually goes back in there about 3 or 4 inches. But on that side I was able to reach in and make it fit and seal. So I'll just do the same on this side. Alright, now I'm getting up into the last tiny little bit. I'm reaching back as far as I can up until I hit the cardboard piece that's behind that plastic. Okay, there's that. And now I need about, I don't know, 2-3 inches. Just stuck in. Okay. Now I cut this up just a little bit oversized so that I can trim off the excess as I go around. But it's not like overly oversized. You see where this is getting tricky back here. I gotta get behind that plastic panel. Well, forward. Good enough. These little holes here, I have to make holes here for the armrest screws that go in to those clips. So I'm going to do like I did on the other side and make a little rectangular cut. And just basically follow the opening. And that'll get the plastic out of the way when you try to run the screw up there and thread it. I'm going to get this back part now. Quick note, I took out the screw from this hole so that I could move the panel just enough to sneak the vapor barrier behind it. This might be overkill, but I like to use my Dynamat roller just to kind of go around the edge. I'm not pushing super hard. I'm not trying to make the caulk flatten out. I just want to see a nice black line through the plastic all the way around. Extra. My razor blade's getting dull. Enough. We can leave that on there. Leave this on here too. That's all fine. Don't have to take that off. This can really stay, but if you're picky like me, you can just go along this edge. Okay. Nice. This raised portion of the floor pan supports the rear seat. It's partially obscured by the interior panel that I'm about to reinstall. I want to apply Dynamat to this area, so I need to do that before the panel goes back on. And before I install the Dynamat, I need to make sure the surface is clean. I scraped out the old deteriorated factory seam sealer and replaced it with Eastwood Brushable seam sealer. Now this area is finally ready for some Dynamat. Okay, now I'm going to install this inner panel. I made sure to put this screw back in before reinstalling the interior panel. So I put new carpet on the bottom, took off the chrome, cleaned that all up. Yeah, let's those holes have to line up because there's a strip of chrome. This trim piece goes along, and the 5 clips go through the panel and into this black sill, this metal piece. So I got to get the holes lined up, and I'll probably have to make a notch in this carpet just as a relief cut so it'll sit better. I guess that goes under there. I don't remember doing this on the other side. Skinny tool that I can use to see if I'm lining up all right. See how those 2 feet spread apart? Like this one here, they're close together, so that'll go in the hole a lot easier. These where they're spread out, you gotta actually get them, try to get them close together. You can't do that. It's hard to get a pliers underneath there in any useful way. So if you widen the upper part, those 2 feet actually get closer together. And you have a better chance of getting them to go in the hole, like that. Let's see if I can get this guy to cooperate. If I can get the first 3 in, I should be in good shape. This one, I hope, will just go in. Not a lot of jiggering. Oh, there we go. That's 2. Now the hard ones. These big greenies. So try to spread them apart. Into the hole it goes. My alignment's not great. There we are. Alright, that's in. Gotta make a relief cut. I did the same on this side. There. So where the little screw goes through, there's a hole in the metal backing behind this carpet. I can feel it with my finger. I need to punch a hole. If I'd been smart, I would have done that before, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Use my Uncle Bob's old ice pick. 24-hour ice service, 600 Selby. Crystal clear ice cubes. Anyway, ow, I found it. There is another tab down here. We'll come around to it in a bit. Collar's a little grunky. I'm going to go clean this up. Okay, I ran it over the brass wheel. Nice and clean. Where is my screwdriver here? So, hopefully I get lucky. I don't have any trouble with this guy. And down here is another attachment hole that has to be lined up. It's pretty far off right now. Same is true on the other side, on the passenger side. Get in through both holes. tricky to keep lined up. I think I might have to get a clamp. Anyway, I'll just use this 2-inch clamp to temporarily hold those pieces together without a screw. So I'm just placing this clamp on the 2 pieces of metal while they're in position, while the holes are lined up. Showing the interference there. Good. Now I just have to find the darn screw. Ta-da! Off. Okay, good. Let's go get that armrest. Armrest is dirty as heck, so I'm gonna go clean it up and we'll put it on. Okay, I did a quick cleaning on this. There's a slight dent on the lid of that cigarette ashtray. Didn't notice that when there was dirt on it, but there you go. Feels like it's threading. By the way, all these parts that I'm putting back on, I've deep cleaned them. Like, for instance, this panel, that strip of chrome, this one, front and back, I deep cleaned them and polished where appropriate. And then once I get everything put together, I'll do a final detailing. Much more firm. Alright, and the crank. So what I'd like to do with this crank is position it with the window all the way up. And I want to have the crank facing back like that. But before we install it, there's this little black plastic spacer, I don't know what you want to call it, washer kind of deal, and then this chrome beveled bezel, what do you call it? They sit like that, and they're held on with this little Allen head screw. I should have checked what size this is, so I can tell you. Let's just do it this way. Alright. Looking good. Thanks for watching.